While churches will be able to hold gatherings at 25% capacity starting Wednesday with a 250-person limit, restaurants, again, will only be able to open with a maximum of 50 people eating socially distanced and only outside on June 1st. Restaurants insist they need more. There are nearly 11,000 restaurants in Minnesota. Between March and April, 49% temporarily closed, and 90% of them laid off or furloughed workers. Restaurant sales in 2019 were an estimated $11.6 billion in Minnesota. Restaurants here estimate they lost $675 million just in April. And of the 285,000 restaurant jobs, 150,000 have been laid off or been furloughed. Earlier this morning, I spoke with Liz Raymer from Hospitality Minnesota. And joining us right now is Liz Raymer. She is the president and CEO of Hospitality Minnesota. Thank you so much for your time this Sunday morning.
Well, thanks for the invitation, Esme. Glad to be here.
Okay. One of the figures that your group has thrown out that really is alarming is that survey from back in April that said if significant restrictions weren't lifted, half of Minnesota restaurants and bars said they would go out of business by July 1st. Is that still the case? Are the numbers even higher now?
Well, that's right. That was a survey from over a month ago, and as we've seen, there has been an increasing number of businesses announcing their permanent closure. This is especially true in the restaurant sector, as the pressures continue to mount with lack of revenue coming in and continuing obligations that they are required to pay. Case being this last week, sales tax was due, and even though there was an abatement and delay on that, since the crisis started, they still were required to pay April and May tax in the middle of May. So this is very difficult for all of these businesses to manage when they really have limited opportunity to create revenue.
Let me ask you, some restaurant owners told me they were blindsided by just having this outdoor only with 50 people on a patio coming from the governor for June 1st. Were you blindsided?
Yes, I think it's fair to say we were, Esme. We have been participating with a number of other industry stakeholders in conversations with both the governor and with the Commissioner of Deeds, Steve Grove, in a roundtable format over the past 3 or 4 weeks. And even as early as Tuesday, the day before the announcement, the conversation for the roundtable centered around the use of masks and 50% occupancy inside the restaurant dining, not outside. So it was a huge surprise and an extreme disappointment for all of us to learn that that was going to be the first phase of reopening, and a very difficult day for a lot of folks to try to understand how they're going to make it going forward.
What will this do? I mean, is this sort of 10% of what you need or 25%? I mean, I know you'd like to open back fully. That's not going to be possible, but there are a lot of people who also don't have outdoor dining space.
And there are way more people that don't have capacity to do this than do. And as I've stressed in my conversations, we have 87 counties that have lots of small, community cafes, coffee shops where people get together. They don't do outdoor dining. They have no capacity to do that. And honestly, folks are out of money. And even if they could manage to do this, where are they going to get funds to purchase tables for outdoor, umbrellas, things like that, that they would need? And, again, to the point of outdoor dining, this weather in Minnesota, as you well know, is fickle, and it adds an extra burden on these operators to wonder whether or not they're going to have a revenue generating day based on Mother Nature. And, up in the northern part of Minnesota, it's very cool. Look all
even
along
here.
the North Shore and how cool it can be even in midsummer. Yeah. It's not always a great opportunity to be outside. And, again, the vagaries of weather. What happens if diners are in the middle of their meal and a thunderstorm pops up? Where are they going to go? How is that going to be handled? It's another big challenge for all these operators to figure out how they can get along.
But let's talk about the restrictions, because I can't imagine the place these restaurants are in. I mean, my husband does have a small business that did have to close, so I know a little bit, but not to the extent for these restaurants. But the governor repeatedly has said he's doing this because his responsibility is to protect lives. And the numbers in Minnesota are horrible. They are going up dramatically. What about that?
Well, of course. I mean, we're very understanding and appreciative of the governors and all the other leaders looking at public health. That is obviously a main concern. Yet we know that this has been done in other states, where other states have been reopening over the last several weeks, and we have not seen a spike in numbers in those states as yet. Of course, we'll be continuing to look at that, as are all the other folks here in our state.
If I can ask, if I can ask you about another state, Georgia. The Governor Tim Walz, says that when Georgia opened up its restaurants a couple of weeks ago, they were being filled up to only 15% capacity because people didn't feel comfortable going. Are you convinced that people are really comfortable enough to go inside to a restaurant now to dine?
Well, Esme, I think it's different for every person. Some folks we know are eager to get back out. They're tired of being closed in. They're tired of cooking. They want to get out and have that experience again. So we know there are people that are doing that. We can look around at our neighboring states that are open, and we can see that people are definitely eager to do that. We also know and appreciate that there's others that are not. And some will hang back and wait to see how that goes, and others at the far end of the spectrum, in terms of caution, will probably wait a really long time, if ever, that they will do that in the foreseeable future until there is some sort of therapeutic intervention. And all of those decisions are fine. I think our point of view is everybody should be given the choice, and whether they wish to do that or not. And we know that there are safe practices this industry has in place to be able to manage this in a safe and a good experience for all.
Well, Liz Raymer, I know how busy you've been. You've been out there everywhere talking to so many people, including the governor. We want to thank you for your time this morning. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks for taking your interest in our industry. It's really important.
Well, we all love our restaurants and bars. We really do. So thank you.
We do, and they're part of the fabric of all of our communities and our celebrations, and it's heart-wrenching to see them in such difficult straits, wondering if they're going to be able to survive.
Thank you, Liz. And actually, just since we've been on the air, we've gotten news via social media that the restaurant Fig and Farrow, which is in the old Filio space in the old Calhoun Square, is closing permanently on May 31st.